Hello and welcome to NOV Live. I'm Michael Gaines, host of the podcast NOV Today, and glad you are joining us today for a special episode that we have, kind of giving you a little bit of behind the scenes and conversation about NOV Live, things to come, and some additional perspectives. So to help me do that, we actually have a special guest today, is David Reid, NOV's Chief Technology Officer and Chief Marketing Officer. So he's going to be joining us. And of course, as always, we have Shelby Dumaine, NOV's Digital Communication Specialist. So, hey, Shelby.
Hey, Michael. Happy to be here. It's an interesting week, a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it'll be good. Some good conversation and insight from folks. And actually, I know you've got some things that you'll share with us in just a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we will get to you in just a few.
All right, sounds great.
So we've got David Reid, NOV's Chief Technology Officer and Chief Marketing Officer with us. And David, we're actually talking, I don't know, it's kind of introspective, but we're talking about what we're doing, which is NOV Live, and maybe just giving a little bit of background. We've been doing this for a little bit, and we've had a lot of people asking, so, why do you do it? And how do you come up with it? And usually anytime I get those questions, I just forward it to you because you're the one that said, "Hey, you need to, Usually that's the story. It's usually your fault." So for those that have been asking and so forth, maybe you can give a little background as to why do we do this and how did this kind of come up?
Well, we already had all the pieces that were needed to get this going, and so we had played around with live before on LinkedIn. And had a very good engagement, very positive, fast engagement. And I think it was we were looking at things like this. But once COVID happened, I think I was in Argentina when I realized how bad things were going to get, and came back quickly, and then got everyone online and just said, okay, this is it. And we worked inside of Teams a little bit early and did internal shows immediately. And I think the drive I had for everyone was there can't be too much content right now. We have lots of things to say. We're not able to see people. It seemed like the right idea to just get out there. And I think for most people looking at something like that, they're like, okay, well, let's plan it. Let's schedule it. Let's know exactly what we're going to do. How are we going to do that? Let's have a meeting about it. Let's have a meeting about having a meeting. The whole thing was, normally in a normal business environment, we would have spent time thinking about it and doing it. But this was a real case of get out and do it. And right. So we just kind of spilled out onto the stage, is the way I look at it. And we did internal first, and that was really getting our muscles developed. Like, well, how do we get this done? And we'd already done podcasts, as you know, Michael. We've been doing that for a while. So turning your camera on, I think, was probably just how do we get Michael to say it's okay to turn the camera on? He's have to wear a tie. I mean, that's difficult.
Well, it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's been fun, and for those that are curious, some people say, well, what is it? I know you don't get this, David, but I think a lot of folks around you do. Is like, what is it like working with David Reid? And it's kind of like. It's kind of like baking a cake. It's with blindfold sometimes. It's like, okay, I think this is the right thing, but I don't know. And you're just like, well, that's okay. Just put it in the oven. Let's see what happhappens. But I think a lot of good things come out of that. I think I heard a software adage that said something like, if you're not pleased with, or if you're pleased with your first version, then you took too long, right? The idea of like, it's okay to make mistakes. And that's a big thing of yours, is talking about failure, right? Learning from that.
I think so. I think getting out there and it proved to be very valuable. In fact, our internal audience was, as they've been interviewed, they get excited about, wow, I get to be a part of this, because in the culture inside of NOV, they've heard you, they've seen us. We've done videos for a long time, and I think what most people don't understand about how, because I get asked this, how come you're able to do these really well done, like the little movies that we do? People are like, you made manufacturing look really cool. Well, it's because all of us came from the businesses. I mean, we weren't people who were doing media and then came into an oil and gas company. We were people who were really connected to the product and the technology, and we all love it. And then we took our side hobbies, the things that we really like doing, and said, okay, let's see if this will fly. And it turned out we had incredible talent in that space. And so a lot of people are confused looking at it going, how did you manage to get all this done? Or for some companies, it's like, this would cost a lot of money. And it really was just getting us together and setting aside time and doing the work. And the response has been great. The interest level, we have people who, I know when we started doing, or at least I started posting Rig Geeks, because I'm sitting at home at night looking at old pictures and went, you know what? And a good friend of mine in the company, Tom Yost, he and I are always sending each other pictures of things we see and go, you know what that is? It's more of a game that you play when you've been on a lot of rigs in your life. You just tend to do it. And so I started posting those, and great engagement, great people just thought of it, and particularly people from my past were kind of jumping in and going, yeah, this is funny because we do this anyway. It's kind of how we're wired. And bringing those features and trying them and saying, okay, people like to answer those questions. People like to show or guess even what this is. And I got a lot of people respond to that. I mean, the views were extremely high and the engagement was just okay. But what it said was a lot of people didn't know the answer to the question, but were really interested in what the answer was. And that ability to not overdo, because the challenge with that is you're sharing very complex information about something that most people don't know, but people want to know, so it becomes an educational tool. So bringing things at a level that people can hear something in a simple form and understand it has led to business for us, has led to people just going, hey, I saw you did this, can you do that? Or I saw this technology, Powerblade was one that was surprising. Here's a way to take the energy, the heavy energy that would normally be wasted on a drilling rig and convert it back into energy. People loved it, but an old friend of mine I didn't know was out there, had moved from one company to another, saw it and was assessing similar technologies and just said, hey, I'm actually looking at this, didn't know you did it. And often in NOV, we think we communicate a lot. We have lots of great salespeople out there. People know our stuff. And what you learn through this platform and this process is tons of people don't know. Tons of people that we thought knew. Here's a friend of mine didn't know we were doing something. And so that's what's been great about it, is the sheer access to people. And we'll learn as people go back into the office. Will the volume of viewers stay as big? Is it a change of behavior? Or is it just something that is going to be more used in the future, but not as engaged as now? The one thing we knew was that people were stuck in their houses and definitely working longer than they should, and on their screens more than they should. And so in breaks or people just trying to look and learn, it gave us great opportunity, and we took it, and it's been.
Yeah, no, and to your point, I mean, it's really at least encouraging for us to be able to see a lot of those that have been viewing and even are viewing now. I'm looking in some of the comments, and folks are joining us from Brazil right now, and Dubai, Saudi, Nigeria, Venezuela, Singapore, India. I mean, we've got folks all over that are, and we're glad that they're able to, because that gives us an opportunity to, as you said, share not only the technology and really what drives a lot of the passion for folks here at NOV, but also additional insights into how we kind of view the world and some of those things. So it's really, really great opportunity, and thanks for pushing us sometimes uncomfortably. Not saying that that's me, but
maybe someone
So I have a friend that may or may not have been pushed, but no, it's really good. So I know one of the things that in that vein that we're always trying to do is improve and find ways to continue to make this show really the show for viewers. And I know that's a passion of yours, is really kind of getting that insight and direct feedback from those that are engaging with this.
Yeah, I think actually now, if anybody wants to write a note and say, hey, what I'd like to learn about, or what I'd like to see, that's the beauty of our live engagement. And this will play and still be in people's feeds when they're not watching. When that happens and you find a video and you're like, oh, I want to see that, and you think it's live, and then deep in you're like, I'm going to comment, and then you realize, oh, I'm alone in a room. there's no one here, or there's no live. I missed it. But at that time, still, if people will post, that really helps us because we thrive on the input of people who watch and go, you know what I'd like to see, and we'll act on that because we didn't come out here and say this is the package. We're gonna do this for these many months, and we've got all these things planned. Really, we're trying to adapt and change all the time. So any feedback, any thoughts on even timing, and we learned a lot when we ran the live international, which a few weeks ago ran 4 shows a day. We learned about timing. It was new to us to learn who turns up when, and the crowds were the same at different times where they were in the world. Brazil early in the morning. Congratulations, guys! I was quite impressed. We were running 5 a.m. shows out of Houston, and those ones the Brazilians were in. I don't know why. Maybe you can tell us in the comments, but they were up and engaging, and often we'd see the Far East at that time. But I think all of that is learning, and so the more you can feedback and engage with us, the more we can give you content that's valuable to you.
Yeah. There. I did just see one comment come in from one of the viewers, and is a friend of yours and mine who asked to see more top secret stuff. While I don't think we can fully commit to that, I do think we will continue to try to bring the subject matter experts who, I had a product line background. I know you do as well, David, and it's such a passion to be able to engage those in the business who are always more than willing to say, yeah, this is, I'm spending years developing this stuff. I'd love to share it, and we're glad to be able to do that.
And honestly, that comment is a truth. When we get stuff you haven't seen, so I think we ran the robotics first here. Just that simple idea. I don't think we went in great depth, but already that's turned into people looking to, okay, I want that. I want just a little clip told people, I can see what you did there, and I need it, and I need it now. So I think for us, it is true. We need to find the edge of what haven't we told, or launching from this type of platform. That was a unexpected launch. Even I think our internal folks were kind of like, we did what?
Yeah.
But it was planned already at OTC for shrimp boil. We were going to do it, and it just was already there in the plans. But I think that's true. When it's something I haven't seen before that's new, I think that does really grab people's attention.
Right. So I know one of the components that we normally have in the NOV live show is the Ask Asad segment, and so Asad Mahana is our director of business strategy, and so I think one of the things that, again, in that vein of, continuous improvement and really, we have a good thing, which he has a short segment, and we've had that internally actually originally, and then we started externalizing it and making it part of the show. So we're actually looking to make it better. And Shelby Dumaine, our digital content specialist, is going to share a little bit about what the Ask Asad show is for those maybe that aren't familiar, and then kind of where we're taking it. So Shelby, what does that look like?
Yeah, so if you've tuned into our show before, usually on the main topic of NOV Live, we like to discuss a new technology or a technology that NOV has been working on, and we kind of focus on that. And then in the Ask Asad segment, which we've had in the past, that's kind of more where we talked about the industry. So not specifically about a technology, but how is the industry right now? What is it looking like? And it's always been a short segment on NOV Live, but in the background, internally at NOV, we've actually had a full 30 to 40 minute long show every week. And we decided, let's take this external. Let's show our audiences for NOV Live or on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Let's show them what we're talking about because it's good information internally and externally. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth on next week's show. But we're taking this external. It's going to be its own show, also on Wednesdays. So you don't have to try to remember another day of the week. We're going to have the Ask Asad show on Wednesdays, and we'll be talking a little bit more about how you can participate, how you can join the show, and what that's going to look like next week.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be good. Maybe we'll even try to have Asad on maybe a little bit next week. I'll see if we can't do that. Now, I don't think I planned on it, but now we'll see if we can. But yeah, I think that'll be really great. And to your point, David and Shelby, really just getting the insight and getting just that feedback from you, the viewer, is massive for us because it helps us make NOV live and Ask Asad segment as well such a benefit, hopefully, to you, and gives you the insight that maybe you didn't have previously. Because if you're like any of us, always curious and wanting to understand more about the technology that's being developed, or a lot of the insight as to, well, why do you approach things? Not so much always, what it is and how it works, but why are you even looking in this space? Why does it matter? So I think that's something that we're all passionate about. So I think that'll be exciting to see. So if people also have questions, Shelby, that maybe they don't, or they didn't put in the comments, though we're happy to have you put those in, but maybe they'll think about it later. What's the best way to share maybe ideas for future topics, or comments or ideas on the show? How do they do that?
Absolutely. So they can email social.media@nov.com or socialmedia@nov.com. We have both of those email addresses. So that's socialmedia@nov.com. You can email that. Like Michael said, any questions you have, any ideas for topics, anything maybe you don't want to leave in the comments, you want to contact us directly, that's how you can do it. So you can email socialmedia@nov.com, and we're checking that every day. So we'll get your message.
Cool. All right. No, so I think that'll be good. So David, I know you're a special guest on this kind of special behind the scenes conversation, but any kind of either parting thoughts or ideas or comments that you wanted to share with those that, or maybe just tuning in for the first time, or have been with us on this journey?
Well, I'll say that the company is very interesting and broad, and so if there are any subjects that you're interested in oil and gas, usually we're touching it. We also do plenty outside of oil and gas that people don't know about in the materials world and to the renewables world. There's just different things that we do that, if there's interest, we're happy to go out there. Just a fun thing, I'm watching and seeing Shelby and Michael on the screen, and they're actually, Michael is in an office right next to Shelby. So that's quite amusing to me from the behind the scenes standpoint. My office looks slightly different because I'm up in our Navasota facility, or our RDTC facility up here. But I think it's a fun group, and we're really keen to just keep doing this if it's valuable to you. So you've got to give us feedback and let us know what you want to see.
That's right. Not a monologue. This is a conversation. So feel free to share your thoughts. So great. Well, thanks, David, for the insight, for giving us the latitude to create this kind of thing. And again, thank you, those of you that are watching from all over the world, for joining us and being willing to share your thoughts and ideas, and give us some guidance as well as to what you'd like to see. And we'll certainly take that into consideration as we continue to share insights, technologies, perspectives, and ideas on the world of oil and gas and energy overall. So thanks, David, for joining us, and thank you for joining us on this special NOV Live. We appreciate you listening and watching, and we will talk to you later.